Hello and welcome to a brand new season of ET Now Hangouts with me, Ankita Saxena. Well, in this season, we get you the best from the startup ecosystem. Dream of owning a home in the picturesque hills or the beautiful beachside? Well, this real estate startup has got you covered. Founded in 2013 by Nibhrant Dhimaan Shah, Isprava has become a dream destination for bespoke luxury home properties. Well, over the past 9 years, Isprava has grown exponentially by creating some of the most beautiful and sought-after luxury homes in the non-urban locations for a roster of clientele that ranges from cricketers to movie stars. Well, the company has over 220 projects that are worth $360 million spread across Goa, Alibag, Coonoor and Kasauli. Well, Isprava is specializing in designing and building luxury homes and providing end-to-end services. And today I have the founders of Isprava with me in the studio. Hi Nibhrant, hi Dhimaan, thank you so much for taking the time out and coming to the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Ankita, it's our pleasure.
Thank you. So let's start from the beginning. You both are brothers and of course you're brothers and you knit closely as brothers, but you've quite followed each other's paths as well in life in general also, because you both were in the US together, you studied and then you moved to a cushy job as investment bankers. What got you back to India and start a real estate business? Because real estate business is a capital intensive business. So why real estate?
You know, number one, our job in America was cushy, but I think both of us knew that we didn't necessarily want to work in a job ever, right? Okay. I think investment banking was always, from the time we were kids, it was always a training ground for us, and the aim was always to come back and start a business. Real estate, because we always believed that, the real estate sector is a disruptible sector. It's a sector where if you do the right thing and you do it the right way, there's a real opportunity to win. Yeah. And that's what we focused on, right? We focused on building the trust of our customers. We focused on creating unbelievable product and layering a deep level of service, right? Which not only made customers trust us, but it also made customers truly, truly love us. And that was always the aim.
Right. Dhimaan, I'll come to you about what Nibhrant just said. Real estate was a disruptible business. Why disruptible? Why is it easily disruptible? Because it's a capital intensive business. There are regulatory issues. There's also competition from big incumbent players. So why do you call it disruptible?
Yeah, so it's, the way we thought about it was, and you're absolutely right? Yeah. Capital is a moat to this business, and but it's solvable, right? Okay. If you set out with a clear vision and a good strategy, you can solve for capital. Yeah. The second, like you rightly said, is regulatory. To be honest, it's quite straightforward, right? The regulations, when it comes to what the government has done vis-a-vis RERA, etc., has actually made regulation better and easier to operate. So as long as you play within those broad guardrails set by the government, again, it's something you can solve for. The reason it's disruptible is because of how real estate was being done earlier in India, right? It had gotten a bit of a bad reputation. Yeah. People weren't delivering on time. Projects weren't being completed. Yeah. And we believe, let's just stick to a core value system, right? Let's do things the right way. If we promise something, let's deliver on it. Yeah. If we're going to, provide a timeline to a client, let's make sure it gets done ahead of time, if not on time. And if we just delivered as good of a product that we promised, we knew this was very, very disruptible because customers will actually take to that, take to that delivery pattern.
Yeah, but not just that, you also managed to have some very big names backing you back in the day, like whether it was the Godrej or the Piramal or the Burman family. How did that happen? How did you manage to convince these big houses to fund you?
They were first and foremost customers, right? And so for us, it was very important. We were creating a new category, and we still are, right? These are new categories. Right. If you look at the Isprava business, we're building non-urban homes. We're, the first organized player to do that. If you look at Lohono, which is our hospitality platform, right? We're one of the first players in the super luxury villa rental business. Yeah. And building a new platform is complicated, and you have to be nimble, and you have to be willing to change from your master plan quite often. Yeah. And we always knew to be able to do that, number one, we wanted partners and investors on board who had a very similar mindset to us, which was long-term thinking, high levels of integrity, high levels of, and a truly deep understanding of luxury. And where better to start than with your customers, right? Who've tasted the product and said, wow, this is great. Let's partner with you on it.
Yeah, right. So talk to us about the business model. You have your business in two parts. One is already demerged, which is Luhono, which is the rental part of the business, and one is the construction of luxury homes.
Yeah. So I think, like you rightly said, the way the business works is we have a real estate business where we build and develop. We develop, build, and sell homes.
Okay.
These are primarily in three locations: Goa, Alibag, and Kasauli. This is under the Isprava brand. These are super luxury homes. Average ticket price of about $1.5 million and upwards. We then have Luhono, which is our management and hospitality brand that layers on top of the real estate business. What Luhono does is it manages the homes entirely, it services them, and then it does short-term rentals as well. Now, the short-term rentals are highly serviced, so think as good as a 5 or 7-star hotel managing a villa, which is beautifully built by Isprava. Luhono now has also ventured beyond the locations Isprava's in. So we have properties in Srinagar in Kashmir, we have properties in Rajasthan, we have properties across India, while Isprava focuses on the three regions that I had mentioned earlier.
Right. Help me understand how big is this demand for luxury home buying in India? Because, I want to ask you this big question right now, because the young don't believe in home buying in the first place, let alone luxury home buying, because the question is now about home buying as an investment versus home buying that's need-based. And the young don't really believe in investing in a home these days because it's not a financially sound decision to make. How do you build a case for luxury homes then?
That's, I'd love to debate you on that because our numbers show otherwise. They don't suggest that. And I'll tell you why, Ankita. I think in India, owning a home is a very, very, very emotional thing.
It's an emotional thing, yeah.
And that's even in the younger generation. And then what we saw through COVID was this so-called younger generation suddenly realized that, look, they were living in a rented space. They were under pressure. They might have lost their jobs at the time. They might be under pressure vis-a-vis their jobs. Maybe the landlords were under pressure. And they realized that you actually needed to own a home. Now, what's unique with us is because we focus on non-urban locations, it's very, very easy to monetize the home when you're not staying in it. Right? So you buy a home, and work with me through this, right? You buy a home in Goa. You decide to use it for 3 or 4 months of the year. And it doesn't have to be 3 months in a row, right? It can be every alternate weekend. Your family uses it for a certain amount of time. Your business partners use it for a certain amount of time, and your friends use it for a certain amount of time. The rest of the time, instead of it lying idle, a homeowner can go and take an Isprava home and list it on the Luhono platform. So suddenly, it's no longer a cost center, right? So even the investment thesis starts making sense because you're suddenly a profit center. The value of your home's going up. You're enjoying a mind-boggling product, and then you have the ability to monetize it as and when you require, and it becomes a profit center.
Right.
And sorry, Ankita, just to zoom out and add to that, I think there are two major trends that we're seeing, and we've been seeing over the past few years. One is quality of life, right? I think the rich in India are realizing, because of many things, right? Because of COVID, because of uncertainties, etc. They're realizing, look, I don't need a third home in the primary city that I live in. So I don't need a third apartment in Bombay or Delhi or Bangalore. I want to actually improve the quality of life for me and my family, right? Our cities are not as livable as they used to be, and hence they look at luxury real estate in non-urban locations. The second big trend is there is uncertainty, right? Geopolitically, there is uncertainty, and there has been. And however you cut it, right? Real estate just is a really good hedge to a lot of this uncertainty. And these two reasons come together very potently. And actually, people are buying, one of the most, and I'll give you an anecdote, one of the most expensive home we sold has been sold to someone who's 38 years old. right? And he doesn't own a home in Bombay where he's based,
Okay.
but he's bought this home from us in Goa and he rents in Bombay. So, we have buyers of all ages and demand is very strong.
Right. Also, so help me understand the breakup, the percentage of revenue that you get from your rental business versus the construction and the selling of homes.
Sure. So, very different models.
Yeah.
So when you look at revenue, the real estate business is obviously the bulk of it.
Yeah.
It's about 75% of our total revenue would be real estate. 25% would be the rental and management business. Of course, it's not an apples to apples when you look at the business models because of ticket sizes, etc. The rental management business is a very high growth business. Like I was mentioning earlier, we're already in 16 locations within India and another 20 to 25 locations internationally, and that growth can be turbocharged as and when we require it to be. The real estate business is a lot more steady, stable, and you grow it at a very sane kind of clip to make sure no mistakes happen.
Help me understand the competition in the luxury real estate business, because it's fairly fragmented, right? Because the incumbent players have their segments in real estate, but you can't say that they hold a chunk of it, right? So in that sense, you're early investors into this business. But since then, since 2013, since you started out, how has the competition been like?
Sure. Ankita, first of all, real estate is a very hyper-local business.
Yeah.
Any real estate player is very strong in their own backyard. It's because you have to build deep relationships.
Right.
You need to build out supply chains. And you have to deal with the complexities of being in a business like, the building of homes and buying of land. Yeah. When we started the business, however, we understood that. And what we thought was, look, number one, we are building a non-urban brand. Isprava is not in a city. Because our belief always was that the way people live will change, and there will be large cohorts of people that move out of cities to, and live in these newer, new age areas, right? Now coming to what you're saying, you're right. It's a very fragmented space. If you see the non-urban space, it's actually a bunch of mom and pop players,
right.
and then suddenly it's scattered in with some large pan-India player. But our belief is, we've gone deep enough to understand how these spaces work. We work very, very closely with local communities there. We don't come in like the big builder, right? That's not who we're trying to be, and that's not who we are. It's not our DNA. We work very well with local communities, and we kind of grow the communities along with us. So while it's fragmented, we are now seeing some consolidation.
Okay.
And we like to believe, at least in the locations in which we work in, we're at the forefront of that.
Right. So what would be your USP? What is Isprava's USP versus, say, a big player that I would want to, perhaps has been here for many, many years?
When it comes to the client side of things, right, I think a lot of things are very different. Number one, it's a very personalized experience, right? From your relationship with the person who's selling you the home, to the entire home buying experience, to even post-sales, right? Our relationship with the client actually begins once we've handed over the home. For most others, it ends when you hand over the home. For us, it actually begins when we hand over the home, because then we also have Lohono, right? So we're really putting our money where our mouth is. We're managing your home. We're making sure maintenance is happening. We're making sure that, if you have anything, right, a leg of your chair breaks, we're there, right? And it's completely tech-enabled. So everything's on an app for a homeowner. Technology is disrupting the entire customer experience on our end. Everything happens on an app, right? So you're on your phone, you just take a photo, you have a party, you break a leg of a chair, take a photograph, upload it on the app and leave, go back to wherever you are. Within 24 hours, that'll be fixed, and a photo will be uploaded up back on the app. We pay your property tax on your behalf and you reimburse us later. We manage your homes, your housekeeping staff, your villa maintenance, your pool cleaning, landscaping, all of that is managed by us, right? So the experience is very deep, very immersive, very experiential, and completely driven through technology. And I think, these 4 or 5 big buckets are the moats that we create around our business.
Right.
In addition to Isprava having Lohono, we've also now launched our private member club, which is for homeowners, a new brand called Solen.
And that's essentially a physical manifestation. We now have about 400 plus clients, right, across locations. Each client has a family of 3 or 4. So we have a community of 1,600, 2,000 people in addition to then the Lohono community.
Right.
So we've built out a private member homeowner club called Solen, which will then scale across the country, which again creates an environment where our homeowners, our stakeholders, everyone can kind of come together. A lot of events, a lot of programming, great F&B. So there are many moats that we've kind of built that make the experience with Isprava very different from what it would be with any other real estate company.
Interesting. And also you have a very interesting clientele, client roster, which ranges from movie stars to cricketers. And of course, you've had the founder of Infosys as one of your early clients. So since COVID happened, I mean, the demand and the way people look at real estate or home buying, it was always an emotional buy, but that has shifted a lot since COVID has happened. What has been this shift in the preferences, or rather the customer ask?
Number one, a larger cohort of customers now stay in our homes as a primary or semi-primary home. Right? So this is people who say, look, I don't want to live in a large metro city anymore. I'm willing to move to a place like Goa, Alibag, and I'm willing to stay there for a prolonged period of time. I might work out of there. My parents might use the local hospital. My kids might go to school there, and I'm available online, and I can get to a flight at the new airport within 30 minutes and fly to my office whenever the need be within an hour, right? And what that did was people who maybe owned a flat in Mumbai now rent in Mumbai, and they come and buy a home in Alibag or Goa. The second thing is the type of product, right? Yeah. People wanted bigger spaces. They wanted a lot more land, a lot more greenery. And then you come and you spend some time in Solen with like-minded people and build truly deep bonds, right? That go beyond just a vertical high-rise where you just about know your owner.
So finally, the important question. So if I want to buy an Isprava home, how much will I have to shell out? What's the average ticket size? And you've also come out with another offering. And how does that work? And what is that about? What's the average ticket size for that?
So as a house of brands, we are a luxury player, right, across our brands. Like you said, Ankita, we have Isprava, which is our uber luxury, super luxury brand, where homes start at about 7 crores. So you're talking, approximately $1 million. We go up to even 50 and 60 crores. We do have homes that go above that as well. We have a few 100 crore homes that we've sold and we keep selling every year. They're unbelievable. They're some of the best homes you'll ever see. But what we also wanted to do, right, was we thought, look, luxury is expensive, but we can still create really world-class luxury at different price points. So we've launched the new brand, The Chapter, where we are in Goa at the moment, but we're rolling out across the country. Those price points range between 4 to 6 crores. You're talking about that $500,000 going up to about $750,000 per home. Again, world-class product that's service layered on, etc. It's just a different price point. And that's what it would cost. And of course, then you get all the other benefits and support that you require along with that.
So that's decided that I'm probably not your customer with that price point. But tell me about the property appreciation. We did see the property appreciate remarkably since COVID. I think it was almost a 50 to 60% appreciation on property rates. Have you seen that as a deterrent for the demand? How are you seeing that shaping up?
Yeah, so let me start by giving some data points, right? And we can focus on any location, Goa, Alibag, anything, right? Let's focus on Goa. In Goa, if you look at it with 10 years back, so look 2016 to now, and look 2020 to now. In the last 5 years, the most conservative appreciation in any location has been about 5x, 500%. The most conservative, it's micro locations, it's very driven by micro locations. Over 10 years, the most conservative has been a 10x. The most aggressive has been about a 24 to 25x appreciation, right? So, and land drives the underlying kind of prices in any location. So yes, we have seen, really crazy exponential kind of appreciation, but it's still there's so much value built in. You're still on day one and day zero in certain locations, right? You're still able to get a 10,000 square foot home on, an acre of land in, say, Alibag, right, at less than what you would pay for a 3-bedroom apartment here in Bombay, right? Or you would get, a large 4-bedroom, 6,000-7,000 square foot home in Goa at the price that you pay for a 3-bedroom apartment here. The difference between the 3-bedroom apartment here and the home you're buying in Goa, Alibag, is number one, you'll actually enjoy that home, the Goa, Alibag home. Number two, you'll be breathing air that you want to breathe. Number three, you will actually start getting a rental yield that is sometimes 3 times more than what you'd get in Bombay, but on average 2.5 to 3 times more than what you'd get in Bombay as a net yield. You also have no headache. You don't have to manage your staff. You don't have to worry about anything, right? So in terms of value, you are on day zero or day one in all of these locations. The growth is, the hockey stick growth is yet to come in our belief.
Right, interesting. So tell me, since 2013 till now, what have been your biggest learnings and what have been your biggest challenges as startup founders?
Our learnings are as follows. I think number one, focus on the customer, right? I think what we realized very early is if we needed to win, we needed to have customers obsessed with us, right? And therefore we did everything in our power, right? And if you look at our brands, effectively what we are a house of luxury lifestyle brands. And everything we've done and the way they all feed into each other keep the customer at the front and center. Every action we take. So I think that's the number one biggest learning. Besides that, we also like to, believe, and I think another thing that we've learned is to be able to always break a sector, right? And what we mean by that is don't worry about creating a category. When we decided, look, we're going to go and build homes in Goa, people said, what are you going to do? Like it's such a small market, right? And the same with Alibag. And these are niche markets. And the truth is, they are niche markets, but there's a lot of opportunity in these niche markets. And one day there'll just be a turning point where that niche market just becomes a bigger market, right? Be it the villa rental business, be it the non-urban markets and
the rental business is already big in Goa, isn't it?
It is, but it wasn't, right? There was a time, there was a time where you went to a hotel, right? Almost everyone went to a hotel. Now there are groups of people who don't go to a hotel. They say, look, the privacy we get in a villa or the level of focused, kind of service I get in a villa, I can never get in a hotel with another 300 people swimming in the pool with me, right? And those are, I think, are two big learnings.
Finally, tell us about your expansion plans. You already have 400 odd projects that are underway in Goa. You're present in Goa, Alibag, Coonoor and Kasauli. So what are your expansion plans, other markets that you're planning to explore, and also what are your plans for fundraising?
So we've delivered about 175 homes to date. These are homes delivered and handed over. We have close to 400 under construction, of which close to 90, so the high 80s, close to 90% are sold and under construction. So, with these numbers and this kind of scale and, with everything going on, our strategy is to go much deeper in the markets we're already present. Goa, Alibag, Kasauli, doubling down, tripling down. We also have the chapter as a new brand to actually introduce to these markets.
Look, as a company, we're very well funded. And not only funded, we're significantly cash flow positive. So we're not necessarily looking at raising money at the moment.
Right. On that note, thank you so much to both of you for joining us, coming to the studio and having such an interesting and insightful conversation. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Ankita.
Thank you.
You were great. Thanks.